Welcome along to the deep dive. We're here to cut through all the transfer noise and get right to what's really going on today. It's all about the biggest, most debated football transfer stories making waves right now. We want to figure out who might be going where, for how much, and crucially, why these potential moves actually matter. And just so you know, all the insights and stories we're discussing today are pulled straight from the latest football news, which you can find compiled over at EPLNews.org. Right, let's dive straight in, shall we? Starting with a proper battle heating up in North London. Okay, so first up, we've got Arsenal and Tottenham apparently locking horns over Crystal Palace's Eberechi Eze. He's got a hefty price tag, something like £68 million, and for Arsenal, it seems they might be looking at him as, well, maybe a slightly cheaper option than Rodrigo from Real Madrid, perhaps more realistic too.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it, seeing that North London rivalry play out in the transfer market itself. And that £68 million for Eze. Wow. It's not just about his talent, which is obvious, but it really underlines the premium on, top-tier, homegrown English players. It's strategic, helps with squad rules, FFP considerations. It's a massive factor for clubs like Arsenal and Spurs.
That's a really good point. And sticking with North London, Tottenham seem to be playing hardball with Cristian Romero. They value him way over £60 million, and they're basically saying no chance to any cut-price deal, especially with Atletico Madrid sniffing around.
Exactly. It shows a club digging its heels in, doesn't it? When a player is that central to their plans and locked into a long contract, they hold the power. They can dictate the terms.
Right. Now, speaking of money causing problems, it's not always the transfer fee itself, is it? Look at Jadon Sancho. Manchester United seem willing to accept around $25 million from Napoli or Juventus. That part seems okay. But the big sticking point, his wages. Reportedly £250,000 a week. The Italian clubs apparently just can't match that.
Well, that $250K a week, it's more than just a number. It's a huge obstacle. It really highlights the massive wage gap between the Premier League and other top leagues like Serie A for clubs like Napoli or Juventus. Matching those kinds of Premier League salaries, it's often just not feasible financially. Their revenue streams, their whole wage structures are different. Paying that could throw their entire budget out of whack, even if they can afford the transfer fee itself. It forces them into thinking about loans, salary splits, or hoping the player takes a big pay cut.
Yeah, exactly. It really complicates things. And meanwhile, Man United are also thinking big elsewhere, reportedly looking into Paris Saint-Germain's 19-year-old midfielder Warren Zaire-Emery. Shows real ambition, going after such a young talent from a club like PSG. They're clearly looking to the future. Then you have situations where clubs are just refusing to sell, like Fulham with Rodrigo Muniz. Leeds are apparently interested, but Fulham are saying no interest in selling him, full stop.
It shows that clubs can hold on to key players, especially when they're maybe building something or just know how vital that player is for staying competitive.
Absolutely. For Fulham, losing Muniz, who's shown he can perform in the league, could end up costing them way more in the long run, potential relegation, lost revenue than whatever fee they might get now. Sometimes keeping the squad together, keeping that proven talent, is just worth more than the cash. But then there's the flip side, the player's own preference. Take Mark Gahey at Crystal Palace. Liverpool have reportedly started talks, and the word is Gahey himself fancies the move to Anfield this summer.
Ah, yes, the player power factor.
That can really drive these sagas, can't it? Sometimes even if the club wants to keep them, if the player's head is turned, it changes the whole dynamic. And just a reminder, tracking all these twists and turns, the valuations, the club strategies, it's all covered in detail over at EPLNews.org. Okay, let's quickly run through some other whispers making noise. Newcastle seem incredibly active. They've apparently put in bids for João Pedro at Brighton, James Trafford at Burnley. Sounds like terms are pretty much agreed there, and also Anthony Elanga from Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, Newcastle are certainly showing their ambition, going for a mix, aren't they? Established Premier League players like Pedro and Elanga, plus a young, promising English keeper in Trafford. It looks like a clear strategy to build depth and quality for maybe pushing for Europe consistently. Trafford, especially, seems like a smart long-term investment.
Definitely. And Manchester United are supposedly back in the lead for Sporting striker Victor Gyökeres. The story is he's keen on reuniting with his old manager.
That manager connection can be a huge draw. Yeah, makes sense.
Elsewhere, West Ham and Wolves are apparently battling it out for Nice striker Evan Gesund, valued around £25 million. And Brentford look like they've broadly agreed a deal for Anthony Malambo, a young attacking midfielder, only 20, from Feyenoord. So wrapping this up, what does it all tell us? I mean, this deep dive really throws the massive financial stakes into sharp relief, doesn't it? Plus, the intense club rivalries playing out off the pitch, and that constant tension between what clubs want and what players want.
It really does. And if you take a step back, you look at these constant cycles of, speculation, massive fees, huge wages. It makes you think, doesn't it? What does it really say about loyalty in modern football and about how commercial the game has become? Is loyalty just another asset to be traded now? Something for fans to ponder, I suppose?
Absolutely. Plenty to think about. And there's always more detail emerging on these stories. If you want to delve deeper, remember you can read about all these transfers and much more over at EPLNews.org.